Lorenzo Simonelli joins me now, the Chairman and CEO of Baker Hughes GE. Lorenzo, thank you for taking the time. When we look at energy security in the world, we really need to be looking at this in 2018 in terms of the digital future. Tell us a little bit about how that is really going to secure the future of oil and gas.
Well, it's interesting because when you look at the backdrop of the last few years, there's been a lack of investment in energy projects and in particular in the oil and gas industry. So as we go forward, we're looking at new technology to really increase production rates. We're looking at the opportunity to use big data and use the big data to actually improve the recovery rates. That's what we're doing at Baker Hughes GE, is in fact increasing production from existing wells, as well as we go out into new opportunities, looking at ways of bringing down the cost structure so that these projects go forward. As we look at the future, there's a clear need for a lot more energy in the world, and that's what we're discussing at this conference.
Now, of course, when we look at big data in this industry, the data that's collected the amounts are probably huge. Sitting there, a lot to be done with it. But again, it's also about collecting that data, in the wells, and how do you compile it and what do you do with it? I mean, I think that's where maybe the last few years the industry mightn't have been the best at doing that.
Well, it's interesting when you actually look at the past, the amount of data that's actually been captured is immense, as you say, but actually utilized by the industry, it's only 1% to 2% in making decisions that matter. What we're doing now is really using the computing processing capability to make much better decisions. How do you actually run a piece of equipment for longer? Make sure that you're proactive in anticipating any non-productive time. How do you use the reservoir information to really place the drill in the right spot and be able to have the perfect well the first time around? We're looking to increase the usage of the data, but not just from a capture perspective, but use the data more concisely and get better decision making. That's what we're doing with the applications that we're developing, such as preventative corrosion management, such as IntelliStream, and it all sits on an industrial operating platform. And what's unique now is this industrial operating platform can really handle all of the data that's available, and that's Predix.
Now, everybody's talking about investment, the fact that there might not be enough around, the fact that it's not coming back quick enough and for big enough projects. What can be done, and even particularly with companies like yourself, how can you actually help the industry think more logically perhaps and put the investment back in the industry, because it has to come?
So, firstly, I think there's got to be an acknowledgement that oil and gas is here to stay for a long time, and it's necessary from an energy mix perspective. Secondly, we've got to make sure that we continue to drive productivity within the products that we offer, but then also that we continue to drive efficiency and productivity within the project. So we're looking at really integration of different products. We're looking at standardization and deploying new capabilities such as 3D printing, such as big data. And ultimately, this industry needs to focus on outcomes. What is the cost per barrel? What is the dollar cost per million tons of LNG? And work towards a standard whereby whatever the price be, we can go forward, because this world needs energy and this world needs the benefit of oil, which is going to go much more to petrochemicals, liquids, and gas, which is going to be utilized really from an electricity generation perspective.
Now, it's been a very busy few days here. I've seen you talking with ministers and colleagues and other CEOs. The entire industry has been really brought together here in India, and of course in India as well, putting the spotlight on this country. The work of the IEF and what it's doing here, how important is that for you as a CEO to be coming to these ministerial meetings?
Look, I want to thank the IEF, because if you look at the gathering that's happened, this is their 16th event, and it's really brought together the wealth of all of the nations in a very important country. India is going to be investing billions of dollars as we go forward into the energy mix. It's co-sponsored by China. I've been able to meet with ministers from around the world and really discuss what's important. How do we make their projects go forward? How do we drive the right energy mix? What's the importance of renewables? What's the importance of oil? What's the importance of gas? And here we can actually get into one convening center and all meet at the same time. So very effective use of time.